Hello everyone, and welcome back to the fifth part of the course, in which we'll be making the Blade of the Ancients from scratch using Blender. In the last video, we made a handle extension using proportional editing, and we had tweaked our overall look of the blade. So let's continue blocking out our handle so that we can soon get into sculpting workflow. So you know the drill. We want to extrude this part with E and conform it to the handle. Usually when you already know what you're doing, what you're going for example, when you're sculpting details, scars and other things, you can also play some music in the background, like just put on the headphones, blast some rock, metal, rap, whatever you're into, and it will make your creative thinking much better. You'll get more work done and it will be extra relaxing. But for now, as we are still learning, we need to focus on our instructors, and so we don't actually accidentally make mistakes. But as you can see, our handle is almost done. This upper part will be made from different objects to here, but eventually we will join all of these objects together. Okay, now I will introduce you to the cursor and origin point. The cursor is this thing. We can move our cursor by holding Shift and pressing the right click. We can move it wherever we want. And at the cursor, we can spawn or bring in any object we want. Okay, now I brought this circle here. If I move the origin point here, Shift A, I can add a cube here, and it always spawns at the origin, at the cursor. And now the origin. If I spawn, for example, let's say a sphere, you can see this yellow dot here. That's what's called an origin. If I move it, unlike the cursor, it moves with an object. So that's pretty useful to know if you want to snap objects. But since snapping is a lot more complex and confusing, and all you need to know now is what I have just explained. So we want to move the cursor with shift click here. Then we want to add a sphere. Scale it down. And if we want to add a sphere to be the same object as this sphere, we add in edit mode. So tab edit mode, we can add, for example, a cube. Let's scale it down and move it here. Then if we exit edit mode, these two objects, so if I select the sphere, our cube moves along the sphere because it is a single object. If I add an object in object mode, for example this cube, then this cube is a separate object. Just a quick notice there. I like to tell you stuff I wish I had learned earlier when starting to work in Blender and in 3D industry as well. Okay, so let's use our proportional editing. Now, instead of scaling, press 1, we will, let me just make it this too, we will move. So we want to squash our circles, so like this, select it, scale it up a bit, then we want to duplicate it, move it here, then scale it down. Oh, this actually works. Now we already have two circles. Okay. Then we want to extend our handle so it goes through. As you can see, I selected the wrong vertex. You want to select these ones, extrude them so they go like this. Oh, to disable proportional editing. And we want another vertex here. this and like this. Because later on we will join these objects, so we can actually use the remesh option to connect them all together. Okay, this part we will also do from sphere. So we can select the sphere and then we can copy it. Copying can actually save you a lot of time. For example, let's move this one at the root of this thing here. Select the middle part, press 1, enable proportional editing, do remember the shortcut, O, then we want to lower the influence area. I love it, it looks like an animal crawling. That's funny. Then we want to scale this down. Okay, this will take a bit more tweaking, but this, zoom in. Then I think we should need to rotate this. Yeah, much better, much better. Oh, we already have something. Yes, we can move this a bit like this. Scale it down. Sometimes it's just easier to turn off the editing. That's alright. Okay. Now we can use this part to shape the others, so we can disable proportional editing and we turn it on the z-axis. In this case, we don't actually need to turn it, just enable editing. Where's the circle? Oh, I didn't enable it. And if we want to, we can make this a separate object so we do not affect it. So we do not affect this one while we're editing that one. We can do that pretty easily. By pressing L on the object, we select only an object. If we press A, we select all objects in the scene. So if you mouse over the object you want to select, press L, then you can press P, which means separate. It's a shortcut for separate, and you choose by selection. Now you can no longer edit that material because you need to go to object mode, swap to it, and now you have a separate object. So let's edit this one. Like this. Let's scale it up a bit. I always like to zoom in so I can select it much easier. Okay, then we can turn off proportional editing because I'll do some manual tweaking. You can just move between those two options, enable the proportional editing and disabling it. It's all about the preference. Sometimes it's easier with one and sometimes with the other. Like this. You can scale this. You can also rotate, it does help with the angles. And it doesn't need to be this perfect, but why not? If you can make something better, go for it. Because in the end, it will just help you. Okay, this part is a little deformed. Scale it, put it like this. And what concerns this part, we can basically leave it as it is. Okay? And now, as you can see, this object is a lot more similar to this part, so we can link, Shift D, and copy it over. Then for here the proportional editing will come in handy. We can just do this. Let's not worry about the vertices because the remeshing option, which we will learn, will make the vertices the way they need to be. So it will just, disperse them equally throughout the whole mesh. Okay, this part here. Alright, and now we need to make this last part. So I would like to make it a separate object. So Shift D to duplicate, place it whenever, P, and separate by selection. So let me place this one here. Oh, yes, this is a good way to show you something. So right now you can see the origin of our object is way over there. So when I try to rotate, it rotates around it. When I try to scale it, it scales very weirdly. So I will show you how to fix that. So you need to, by right clicking, you won't get much options, but you get this set origin option. So there are many ways and many different ways to set origins. But the one you want to do is to set origin to geometry. And now the origin is where it needs to be. So origin, remember, right mouse, set origin, origin to geometry. Okay, we can go to edit mode. Okay. And as you can see, we want, okay. And now we can, just for it, so it looks better, we can do double G. If you press double G, we slide the vertices along the face. So double click, double G, and we slide them. So I can get a better curve right here. Okay. And well, if you see these ones, we want them to intersect with the main spike, let's say. So let us enable X-ray view. We can select the single vertex right here and then just pull it like this. So this, no. Let's separate this one too, because it's much easier to join them later. So this one, G, let's scale this down, and we want it to intersect like this. Okay, it's not really centered, because I was not in the front view when doing it, so I just select the whole object and move it like this. It should work. Minor problems will not surface, don't worry. So press 1, select this vertex, if I can see it, like this, press 1. Just make the L area of influence smaller, and done. Okay. Then we can finally go to the object mode, disable X-ray, and here's a sword. Now, you want to add a solidify modifier to the handle. So go to the wrench tab, modify properties, other words, add a solidify. Offset to 0, thickness a bit more than 0.1. So let's just disable the references, press 3, and then let's see. No, this is too much. We need to grab the fact that we are going to sculpt, so By sculpting, we add thickness to our blade, of course, and shape. So let's just go for 0.8. Yes. So leave the thickness at 0.8 and apply it. Then we want to join all these objects together, and we can do that by selecting spheres, other parts, then the handle last, so it is an active object, and we join by pressing Ctrl or holding Ctrl and pressing J. Now we have successfully joined these objects, so they're together. If I move the handle, they all move together. And now we get into the next phase, which is called sculpting. So up here with the object mode and edit mode, you have the sculpt mode. With the handle selected, you can get to it. If you press N, it opens up this window, but for some reason for me, I need to press this to open up a series of brushes we will use in the next episode. Got you there. But one step at a time. You learned a lot this time, and you made the blade. You blocked it out. Look at it. Just zoom out for a second and admire your creation. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, and like the video so I can make more courses for you. In the next one, we will start sculpting our handle, and our blade will start to look even more amazing. So, see you in the next one. Bye bye.